Welcome back to Tales on Track. With the front of the Locost more or less complete, it is time for us to smash the back end in. Which means in this episode we do diff, shafts and wheels. Welcome to my almighty collection of MX5 drive shafts. As you can see, I have 3.8 in total, with the option of putting new outer CV joints on to make 4.2. But don't worry, the reason I have 4 is not because I plan on making 4-wheel drive, for 3 reasons. 1, it is project creep. 2, I would need to do substantially more mods. And 3, no. What we're going to try and do is get 2 out of all of this collection of nonsense that will allow me to then put the diff in. That's the plan. So, the problem I've got is, whilst I can replace the outer CV joints with these, because they are readily available and off the shelf, it appears to me that there's absolutely no option to deal with the inner drive shaft CV joints. Now that's not a problem because none of these shafts have a problem with that. All of the inners are fine. This guy got stumped because the outer one was absolutely humped. I think that was many moons ago. Have a look back at the one the previous. So whatever I do, I'm going to put new outers on it, just so I don't need to think about it again. We're probably going to tidy up the shafts themselves because kit car, make it look clean. But I don't know what to do about the inners. So obviously the boots will be the big headache, because if the inners are fine, I can strip them off, re-grease them and put them back on. I'll just need to be really careful with the boots, make sure I don't kill them, and make sure I don't kill the inners as well whilst we're removing them. But yes, what will now follow is an exercise in tarting up old pish. So that cost me 1 tin of paint, 74,000 rags, but these are now stripped, painted, clean and ready to reassemble. Now, I think up until this point we've more or less just done normal replace a CV joint and not gone into great amounts of detail on how these actually work. And yeah, I feel a bit remiss about that. Before we get into this though, this horrible dusty grinding rust off, I've just noticed, that's the last bit. There is going to be no more horrible rusty refurbing of parts. The shafts was all that was left, so I might actually properly clean this unit now that I don't need to worry about black stour appearing in the walls anymore. But that is a nice, satisfying feeling. Everything from here on in is clean. Right, first things first, there is an assembly route to putting these together. As you can see, this cup will hold the 6-balled inner race there. That circlip will locate on here to stop it falling off the shaft, and this boot will go on here to stop the whole lot losing grease. The circlip sits in there, and that just stops that falling out. It's not actually critical, I've realised, for anything other than when you do this to stop you losing the wee balls. So it's pretty simple, and actually is an easy thing to put together. The only problem is, what you don't consider is that it all needs grease. And that just makes everything horrible. So it was going well. It was really going well. I was motivated, I was hydrated, and we were doing good. Go on, demonstrate it. The problem with drive shafts is they need to turn the wheel. That will not turn the wheel.
It's completely different.
It's absolutely nothing like it, right? And I'm sorry, but I'm now burning companies. That's who supplied it. They were bought as MX5 NB outer f***ing CV joints. That's the part code, and they are not. They are absolutely not. It's just getting boring now, isn't it?
It's ridiculous. I don't understand what these, like, what is this for?
I think it's for a transit. Like, I think they just have one standard size of CV joint and they send them out for everything in the hope that it might fit.
Online companies, I've now got to the point, as I said, when I got the Fiat one, I made sure there was an actual picture of the, not like a illustration, like an actual image of that's the drive shaft.
So I've actually went online to double check. Maybe they sent me the wrong one. Like they've just stock checked and picked the wrong one, because I can see it's a JR339. But when you go onto the ad for it, it doesn't say any of that. So I can't even verify that. What an absolute shit show.
Total waste of time.
Total waste of time. So now I need to order, like, not these from somewhere else. I'm going to order them locally and stop using online sellers because they can't get it right. And at least I've ordered it locally and they don't fit. I can take it back and scud the person over the face with it. So it is time for us to move on. As ever, as is the norm in Tools and Track, let's come back to this later. Okay, less negativity. We know we're going to have to just buy some proper CV joints and finish the shafts off, but I still need something to make them to. And that means I need to finally deal with this guy. We mentioned in the last episode we got that hydroblasted, so it's nice and clean. What we're going to do though is deal with the fail point, which I've mentioned a couple of times now. What that means is we're going to have to plate here, and belt and braces plate here and plate here. You'll notice that we've actually flattened this off and taken a couple of nubs off that are going to get in the way. To solve this, 6mm aluminium plate needs to be put over here and TIG welded in place. And before we get into something else, I also need to discuss the complete and absolute failure I've made on identifying diffs. Because a couple of episodes ago we dealt with this torsion and made it all nice and happy. That was to go in instead of this, which was the open diff that we were going to stick in that and put in here, or rather not stick in that because we're going with that. However, that's not an open diff because I'm an idiot. I never actually thought to check this, but I assumed because of the way the MX5 performed on episode 1, i.e. didn't really lock up and skid well, that it would be an open diff, but it's not. Those springs denote Fuji. That's an LSD as well, but that doesn't matter. I'm still going with the torsion for the Locost because it's mechanical, it's going to take punishment, I can fit and forget. That being said, spoilers for future MX5 episodes, we are probably going to beef this boy up and chuck that in the MX5 because I've been wanting a spare Fuji for a while. That solves a lot of problems. Anyway, I totally digress. Let's put together the torsion. But first let's weld. So I don't really know why I'm showing you this, because without a TIG welder in these plates, you're probably not going to be doing this welding, but it's handy to know in case you ever do consider it. These plates you can order from somewhere online. I actually forget what it was. I think it's Kit Car Spares or something like that. Anyway, they're pre-cut, laser cut, nice simple alley plates. They fit on there, you just weld around them, fit and forget, not a big problem. Does save you a substantial amount of money on certain engineering companies that take 12 to 16 weeks doing it for you. However, pay close attention to the bevel. They do not send them beveled, and it does need a slight kink around about here in order for it to fit flush. But that's also easy dealt with a vise and a big rubber mallet. So just got to get one right, match them all to it, and it will sit flat. This is test case 1. Now, you'll probably notice that here's the Blue Peter one I made earlier. Remember, I took 2 of these apart. We're going to build one and make a spare one. Whether that gets sold, put in the pile for a spare one or something, I don't know. But it made good sense to have a practice one in case something went wrong, and then a decent one that we can learn from mistakes and properly put in the car. This is going so well, because I'm not welding it and Daniel is, that it probably will be this one that goes in the car. So 1 plate's on, 3 to go. I might actually have a wee go at this myself, if I'm being honest. And then it's time to build it up with the Torsen. A couple of episodes ago, we managed to get this guy vapor blasted. So the temptation would be for me to just fire this on and leave it, but this is the same finish it came from factory. And if you remember, before we vapor blasted it, the factory finish did not look great. So we would have to put something on this to make it better. And as we are trying to progress things, I've had to use a supplier that's not online. A, for time saving, and B, because I don't trust online sellers anymore. So we have got did.
Strengthened.
That is strength. Still quite hot.
Still a bit toasty.
Because you put the fire of the sun into it, but that's kind of what you would pay 300, 400 quid for, and then wait 12 to 16 weeks for. But that's been, to be fair, you've took 12 to 16.
I have not.
No, we're all very busy, but that has been a week. And realistically, we could have done that in a day.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know,
like easily you could just sit and just for a couple of hours just weld the whole thing up, no problem. So, but they weld quite nice.
Yeah, I mean, we had concerns about the casing because obviously it being cast that it wouldn't work, and I did try it and proved that concept because it wouldn't work with me. But
no, it's fine.
The Daniel Meister's done well here. So next up, we need to obviously let it cool, put some primer on it, paint it, much to your man's dismay.
New seals.
Yeah, we've got new seals there for it. But you think it shouldn't be painted?
I just thought it'd be nice, like matte, just to put a matte clear coat on it because it's so nice and clean.
Yeah, but given the success we've had with that,
yeah, that was good.
I think we'll go with the anthracite for the diff casing as well, just to give it a bit of, you know.
Looks good.
So let's build this and finish something. voila, one fully fitted diff and one fully fitted prop. Well, except it's not, because I'm a man who enjoys an unnecessary challenge. I have put the diff in and forgot to fit the seals. But thinking about it, it's probably not going to be that big an issue, because hammering in seals with that open diff that I don't want to clamp in any way because of its lovely paint is probably easier done here than anywhere else. So I'm not going to get hung up on that. We've got a few things we need to tackle, but fundamentally it's in. Now we can move to fitting in the shafts and assembling the back end. That was a big critical thing. As you can see though, we've got many things that I have to tidy, which I couldn't do until I knew what my clearances were with the diff. So in the next episode, we're going to carry on with this. And if I'm being honest, we're going to unveil the final plan, but we'll come to that. Anyway, I've noticed recently there's a whole load more Patreons joining, so I think by this point what I'm saying is actually kind of working. So thanks to all these new guys that have jumped in, that are running up the side of the screen right now. Really appreciate your support. If you want to be like that, of course, patreon.com/toolsandtrack. You get to see all this stuff way in advance, because believe it or not, we actually do film a lot of stuff and compile it, because, well, much like animating, it's very hard to do live. I like to have a wee bank, so you can see that as it comes out on that site. If that's not for you though, I get it. Like, bell, subscribe, and do the share thing. I've noticed that as well on Facebook. There's been a few folk that have actually shared my stuff, and it really does help. I put these things in as many places as I can, but there's actually no better substitute for other people giving the channel a recommendation and chucking it out. So if you want to be that level of awesome, it would be greatly appreciated. Anyway, I've babbled enough for the moment. Appreciate all your support. Thanks for sticking with this. Big things to come. Drive safe.